The ocean is a whole other world, poorly studied and hard to understand, but very attractive. It hides countless amazing secrets and mysteries in its depths. All kinds of living creatures live there, and they are very different from those that live on land. One of the most famous and interesting creatures is the whale. These giants are incredible. They are very smart, kind, and harmless creatures. However, this wasn't always the case. Leviathan Mevely. During the past centuries, life on our planet was much more brutal than it is now, and the ancient whales were much different from the modern ones. One of these predatory whales was Leviathan Mevely, which lived in the ocean during the Miocene epoch, about 12 million years ago. Even the legendary megalodons were afraid of these giant whales that ate everything in their path. The two kinds of predators competed with each other, each striving to secure their place on the top of the food chain. If prey was involved, these predators didn't hesitate to attack one another. In November 2008, fossilized remains of this whale were discovered in the Piscoaca Desert in coastal Peru. This region wasn't considered the best for paleontological research due to the active tectonic processes, but it was there that the remains of many cetaceans were discovered, some of which were tens of millions of years older than the Leviathan. So, Leviathan mainly lived off the coast of modern South America in the relatively shallow waters with an abundance of various foods. But scientists suggest that they could have well migrated in search of a better territory, going to the shores of North America and even Australia. History of the name. The original name of the genus Leviathan comes from the name of the biblical sea monster. However, it soon turned out that this name was already taken and was synonymous with mastodon. Therefore, according to the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, a name change was required. It was decided to add Mevely to the initial name of Leviathan in honor of Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick in 1851, a novel about the giant sperm whale. Thus, in 2010, an international team of paleontologists described the new whale species called Leviathan Mevely. Having carefully studied the remains of the ancient whale, assumptions could be made about the structure of its body and its way of life. The remains included a partially preserved skull with teeth and a lower jaw 3 times the size of the modern killer whale. Leviathan bore obvious resemblance to modern sperm whales, but the modern sperm whale has teeth growing out of the lower jaw, and they are intended primarily for hunting fish and large squid. Leviathan had teeth on both jaws. According to the scientists who discovered the Leviathan Mevely, it resembled the killer whale more, especially in its way of hunting. The ancestors of whales. Leviathan is technically classified as a physeteroid, a toothed whale subfamily with a history of over 20 million years. The only physeteroids that have survived to this day are the pygmy sperm whale and the regular sperm whale. Other long-extinct species looked miniature compared to the Leviathan and didn't look anything like it. Examining the well-preserved 3-meter-long animal skull, the scientists came to the conclusion that the total body length of this whale when it was alive was 15 to 17 meters, and its size from the tail to the tip of the muzzle was 16 to 18 meters. In terms of physical characteristics, Leviathan was a relative of the modern sperm whales, but it didn't exceed them in size, but it was actually smaller. Giant predators. Based on the dimensions of the fossilized skull, the experts argued that the ancient sperm whale had a giant spermaceti organ, a specific melon-like cavity in their head consisting of fat, wax, and connective tissue. Initially, the prevailing opinion about this organ allowed the animal to dive to great depths in search of prey. However, the latest data refuted this hypothesis, since the sea animals that the ancient sperm whale hunted lived in the warm upper layers of the ocean. This meant that this large organ originally performed the functions of an echo sounder and a ram, and only later was transformed into an effective means of diving to significant depths. The huge and bulging forehead was very strong, but it wasn't the only feature of the predatory hunter. Equally surprising were the Leviathan's large teeth. Their length reaches 1/3 of a meter, 36 centimeters, and their width at the base was 12 centimeters. These teeth weighed between 1.5 and 2 kilograms each. The Leviathan's teeth were 10 centimeters longer than that of the largest known specimens of the modern sperm whales. Moreover, these teeth were larger than those of the ancient sea lizard, Predator X, which the scientists named as one of the strongest predatory animals in the history of animals on our planet. Leviathan was at the top of the food chain. It needed to eat hundreds of kilograms of food every day, both to maintain its weight and to maintain its warm-blooded metabolism, because whales are mammals. According to scientists, Leviathan was the most ferocious whale in history. This creature's menu included all large animals living in the oceans. The aggressive hunter didn't mind eating the meat of its own relatives either. Extinction. To this day, scientists haven't been able to answer the question of what could have caused the giant Leviathan to go extinct. All assumptions boil down to the sharp climate change, a decrease in the temperature of the upper layers of the ocean, and as a consequence, a sharp decline in the number of available and appropriate prey. However, some experts suggest that the giant sperm whale Leviathan, as well as the huge shark Megalodon, didn't go extinct but changed their habitat in favor of the extremely deep sea. Experts say that given that thousands of giant shark teeth, 12 centimeters each, are being found on the ocean floor, Megalodon may be comparable in the frequency of tooth changes to the modern great white sharks. Moreover, Megalodon's teeth are found at the bottoms of the water bodies all over the world. Scientists believe that these teeth came from the living giant ancient sharks and not from the fossils. It is possible that the giant sperm whale Leviathan is back at the original place at the top of the food chain. However, 36-centimeter long teeth don't get found at the bottom of modern oceans, but sperm whales don't have the habit of losing their teeth. Descendants of the Leviathan. Since we've talked about the most ferocious whale in history, now let's talk about its descendant, which is very similar to Leviathan in its aggressive hunting. Yes, we're talking about the killer whale. The reputation of the dangerous predator with no particular preferences in food has made the world see the killer whale as a tough killer. Looking at how killer whales hunt, one can't help but admire how harmonious and cold-blooded they really are. When one individual can't reach the victim, others come to its aid. Killer whales have a complex social organization. Several families get together and form a group. When killer whales hit an ice floe and force the dormant seals into the water, they surround the animals and methodically destroy them all. If killer whales attack a baby whale, there's no way of saving it. It's doomed. Killer whales are fast. They swim at speeds of up to 55 kilometers per hour and simply can't be overpowered by a mother trying to protect her child. When hunting sea lions, killer whales beach themselves, catching the animals by surprise. When they attack a whale, the male killer whales try to drown the victim by not letting it get to the surface to breathe. And when they attack a sperm whale, it's the other way around. They push it to the surface so it doesn't get to hide at great depths. The echolocator of killer whales is so accurate that it allows them to determine not only the distance and size, but even the shape of the objects and creatures. Killer whales have a good idea of who they are hunting, but they also have a different side too. They are the most human-friendly predatory animals. They don't show fear of humans in the wild. Any attacks by killer whales on humans were committed either by the wounded animals or for self-defense purposes. When in captivity, they quickly get used to humans and are easy to train. Ruthless hunters in action. A killer whale needs up to 150 kilograms of food per day, and there is no shortage of it. The variety of the diet and the absence of natural enemies puts the killer whale at the top of the food chain. They eat literally everything that's alive. When there is enough food, the killer whale gets along well with other cetaceans. But if the killer whale gets hungry, it won't mind attacking any whales, dolphins, pinnipeds, and even penguins. The size of the prey doesn't matter. When it's impossible to kill the prey with one blow, killer whales exhaust it by biting off pieces of meat off its body. They dig their teeth into the throat of the whale, tear out its tongue, and shred its fins. There's also evidence that killer whales attack deer and elk that swim across small canals. An interesting observation: bite marks of killer whales were found on half of the examined fin whales and sei whales, and 65% of sperm whales. Just imagine, every second sperm whale has been attacked by a killer whale in its lifetime. Friends, that's all for today. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and see you soon.